Hi, I'm Angie Veman, and welcome to Totally Clutch. This is the podcast for women like you to find ways to simplify your business and personal life. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. All right, welcome back to another episode of Totally Clutch. I'm your host, Angie Veman, and today we are going back to our roots of e-commerce, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So Amy Parsons is here, and she built a direct-to-consumer business, a direct-to-consumer e-commerce business, just in the last couple of years, so right in the thick of the pandemic. And she is, this. So it's a health and beauty brand, a health and beauty online store, and she's planning to take over and compete head to head with Ulta, Sephora, Amazon, Target, all the big guys. So she's here today to tell us all about the business itself, the journey to get there, and her story is fascinating. So this is all completely new to her, this industry. So she spent most of her time, and she'll tell you all about it, but as a lawyer and in academia, and now is doing e-commerce. So it's going to be a fascinating story, and I hope inspiring. You know, like I said, these are e-commerce is my background and kind of where my heart is, I guess. And so it'll be a fun conversation. So welcome to the show, Amy.
Hi, Angie. Thanks for having me. It's great to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want to tell us, like, start the fascinating story? Tell us about your background and how you came to be doing the work that you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, some days I still wonder how it all came to be, but I do have a 20-year career. Started out as an attorney in private practice, and I was working at a large law firm. I'm downtown Denver. I was working for a law firm, Brownstein Hyatt and Farber, and doing commercial litigation. One of my clients was Colorado State University, and I went to CSU for undergrad. So I knew some of the people there. I was representing them as outside legal counsel. And then when I had my first daughter, I was on maternity leave, and CSU hired me away to be in-house at CSU. And, I think as a lot of people do, I thought, well, I'll go do this job for the university for a few years while my kids are little, and then I'll go back into private practice. But I never went back into private practice, and I was at CSU for 16 years until I quit just 1 year ago now. So I had a great career at CSU. I was chief operating officer for the Fort Collins campus, and then I became executive vice-chancellor for the CSU system. Now, that's what brought me back down here downtown, working with CSU Pueblo, CSU Global Campus, and CSU in Fort Collins. And so sort of an accidental academic, if you will. I never really intended to go into higher ed, but it was great for me and raising my family. And like I said, I was there for 16 years. But I think, what I really learned about myself in that time that I loved doing for the university was building things. So going from an idea of maybe we should do this and creating a big vision around it, and then doing all the hard work day in and day out until all of a sudden you have that finished product, and how satisfying that is. So, for example, I was responsible for the construction of the CSU football stadium. And that was an example of, one day Tony Frank and I are having a conversation in the office of, what if we built a football stadium on campus, and where would that go? Then did everything in between, and then we're at kickoff on game day in the new stadium, and how satisfying that is. And I built a campus in Mexico and was working on the building of the National Western Center here in downtown Denver, and CSU's role in that. So I really learned that that's what I love to do, of setting a big vision for something that never existed before, and then marrying that with all of the planning and the day-to-day and the hiring and the execution until you have a finished product. So I just started, over time thinking about what that would be like if I went out on my own from CSU and created something from scratch, really in an area that I loved, that I created, and replicate that experience of the big vision for something that's never existed before, and then all the execution into bringing it into action. And that's really what I did with Mozzafiato and conceived of that really all during COVID. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And you're totally a woman after my own heart. I mean, that's what I love. I've been in product development and operations, most of my career, and I love the same thing. I just think it's it's tangible, right? And it feels good to put all of those pieces together and build something from it. So yeah, thank you. That's amazing. So why don't you tell us about the business? Like what are you selling? What's special about it? What should we be watching out for?
Yeah, so the business it's all on e-commerce. It's mozzafiato.com. And Mozzafiato, first of all, is a great big word, right? It's a big word in Italian. It's an Italian word that translates to breathtaking. And I just also thought it was a really fun word to say, kind of like mozzarella, but Mozzafiato. People can say it when they sound it out. But we are an all Italian, 100% Italian beauty and men's grooming store. So multi-brand retail store importing all of our products from Italy. So if you think of, a Sephora or an Ulta on a small scale, but everything in the store is made in Italy, and we buy directly from our brands in Italy and import them to the US and sell directly to consumers. I came to this idea from a couple different ways. One, I love Italy and have had amazing experiences in Italy over the years and really believe that they produce the best in the world in a lot of different categories, including wine and auto and food and fashion. And they have this culture of craftsmanship and quality, multi-generational craftsmanship, and families that have passed down generation over generation, their commitment to development of really amazing things. And in the beauty space, that's no different. And I think most people know that Italy produces the majority of the world's cosmetics and beauty products. They produce them on behalf of luxury brands all over the world. So a lot of luxury brands we know in the US are actually made in Italy because they have that craftsmanship. But the real secret is that Italy is filled with all of these native beauty and men's grooming brands that they've been making for themselves over a long, long period of time. Some of our brands are 400 years old that are really relatively unknown outside of Italy. So our big idea in this is that we're going to go into Italy and we're going to find those best in class heritage Italian brands with those great stories, amazing performance, beautiful style, and import them into the US. So people here can find and discover them, and we can support those craftsmen and those family brands back in Italy. So, set out doing research. This was all during COVID. So the Italians were already home on lockdown because COVID hit them a little sooner than it did in the US and hit them really hard. So they were home already. And I think that really helped open the doors for me to be able to reach out to them and ask if they would get on a Zoom call with me. They would ship me product into the US. We would test it together, do everything remotely. And I think partly because of COVID, these Italian companies and brands were sort of forced into a mindset of innovation, of being open to wanting to do things a little bit differently, maybe taking a gamble on an American girl, taking a gamble on selling in a new market and selling online, which not all of them were before. So I think, in a lot of ways, COVID really enabled the conversation to happen and to speed the time that it took for us to do these deals together and to establish those relationships. So we now represent 20 different Italian brands. Some of them are a little bit newer brands. Some of them, like I said, are 400 years old plus brands. And we're importing and selling them all through mozzafiato.com. So we're the only all Italian beauty and grooming marketplace out there, whether in bricks and mortar or online. And we're finding that people are really excited to find it. And connect with these brands, connect with Italy, connect with that quality and style and things that they love. So it's been pretty exciting to put it all together.
That's awesome. So I guess I'm so curious. I love that you just reached out to people that you were interested in, you love their products and you reach out to them. I'm glad that that you were able to have those conversations. I guess I'm super curious, and maybe this is getting into the weeds too much, but so the health and beauty industry is one of the fastest growing in e-commerce. And so
Yeah.
with the pandemic, and that's even during the pandemic. And so were a lot of these suppliers, or manufacturers or makers, were a lot of them not experiencing the same business? Like was their business softened a bit and that made them available to have those conversations or more open? Or was it just like, were I don't know why were they more open at that time, do you think?
Yeah, I think a couple things. So a lot of these stores were they're selling in bricks and mortar stores. Not a lot of them were very sophisticated online. They weren't interested in e-commerce. They weren't selling really in the US. A few of them were, but most of them weren't. And I think when COVID happened and they literally shut their doors, and then we came calling, they were really open to all of these new ideas of how to move product. And so there were some supply chain issues for them, for those brands, in order to get the product. But really, the biggest supply chain issue that we faced was how expensive it was to move their product that they were already sitting on and not selling, and that I wanted to bring to the US to sell at e-commerce to our customers here, just how expensive it was during COVID to move that product. Because there just were not enough planes in the air. There just were not enough planes moving between Europe and the US at that time. And we wanted to move so fast because we wanted to be up and selling by November 1st. So we'd get some sales over the holidays. And of course, having never done e-commerce before, I mean, we were just winging it, really trying to get product in, trying to build the site on Shopify, trying to fulfill through a 3PL that we got in Pennsylvania, all of that all at once. But we were not prepared for how expensive it was to bring the product in. So it was less a matter of them not having the product, because they weren't selling in Italy and their primary sales channels were through their bricks and mortar stores that were completely closed.
That makes sense.
The product was available. It just was crazy expensive to get into our warehouse in the US. It's getting a little bit better as things start to open up. But really that was a shock to us of how difficult it was to actually import the products here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge barrier for most. I would say for, any e-commerce business or any product-based business that's importing from outside of the US, that is the biggest thing. It's shipping samples, it's shipping product, and those are all costs that a lot of people don't factor in. And they fluctuate a lot, like you were saying, which is really challenging. But I think, all of the companies that I've ever worked with or worked for, those, there a lot of the newer ones, if they're actually developing product instead of just buying product, a lot of them feel really limited in what they can do in their assortment, because I mean, shipping one sample from, and so that means like, it's not even the product that for sure that you want. It's not even the product for sure that you can photograph, right? Like just one sample, like pre-production sample costs, can cost over $1,000, sometimes $2,000, sometimes $3,000 just to get from the maker to you. And that's a huge barrier to entry for a lot of people. So I see it on the front end, and I also see it on the back end. I teach a lot of classes on, starting an e-commerce business. And the number one thing that I'm like, please, 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 please do not forget to check the cost that it is, or what it's going to cost to ship this product to you and to the customer, because
Right.
there are again, like I've worked for some of the biggest e-commerce companies in the country, and every single one of them has at least one item that they are losing money on because they didn't factor in the cost of shipping correctly. Like they underestimated it or just didn't think about it, and so they're not making any money on it. So
Yeah.
I totally feel your pain. It is, yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah, I mean, so you're absolutely right. Shipping gets you two ways. I mean, we're shipping all the product in from Italy, primarily. There's a few brands that luckily had some inventory in the US that we were able to buy. That was a little easier. But then it's getting that algorithm right about what to charge for shipping to the customers. Because you can't just do free shipping. We started out doing free shipping because we didn't yet know what to charge.
Mhm.
And you want to make shipping really easy so that every time somebody orders, they know what they're going to get. So
Mhm.
right now, for example, we have free shipping over $75, and we've toyed with different levels of that. And then under that, it's a straight up like $9.95 for shipping. That's kind of a sweet spot. And then people can pay more if they need it expedited. If it's a gift or something, they can pay more than that. But in the world of prime shipping from Amazon and 2-day shipping, and people are so used to that, that's hard to compete with.
Mhm.
So that's definitely a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
free shipping is actually one of the biggest converters. Or a better way to say it is, through the studies that have come out, that if there are costs added to the cart after somebody, so you find what you want, you put it in your cart, and then you go to check out. If there are additional costs in the cart, or
Right.
on the checkout page, people are way more likely to not purchase because
Right.
it just surprises them, or they think it's more than it is. So yeah, I mean, free shipping is awesome. You just want to make sure that you're still making money when you're doing that. Not
Yeah.
you, but people in e-commerce.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this might be too in the weeds, but for example, our average order value on our site is $100. So we feel that when most people get to checkout, they've already surpassed the $75 limit, and it says right on there you're eligible for free shipping. So you just sort of bank on that, right? And the other thing that we do is we create a lot of custom bundles because people want to be able to try different products. So you can come on. We have one called the Perfect Powder Room, for example, that has like a hand cream and a hand soap and a diffuser and a spray, just beautiful products to have in your powder room. And we package that in Mozzafiato, and we set that at like $75. So we can say all of our bundles are free shipping because they're at that threshold. And just being able to say that, I think, really helps. But it's not a win if you're selling something for $20 and it costs you $20 to ship it. So
Right.
you
Right.
have to, set it at some level that makes sense for you financially.
Yeah, that's
Um,
genius. It's so smart. And it's so smart to look at. I think, you bring up a really important point that I think, there is a lot of information that can make you more profitable, that can make your customers happy, that you have at your fingertips once you've started selling. And so,
yeah.
that's awesome that this is the average, this is how much people on average are spending, and you can make decisions based on that. And because it's e-commerce, you can change it later if it doesn't work. It's
Everything's an
so fluid.
experiment, and the beauty and brutality, I think, of e-commerce is exactly how you're doing every single day. The
Yeah.
numbers
Yeah.
don't lie.
Yeah.
Every day, you know exactly what's going on your site, what people are doing, where they're coming from, what's selling, what's not selling. I mean, it's just right there in the numbers,
Mm.
right in front of you. So that's what I actually like about e-commerce. All the data, all the analytics, you can see if experiments work or don't work. And that's really a matter of just constantly trying to improve that system.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, music to my ears. I love it. So good. Okay, so I love that you have already set your sights on competing with Ulta, with Sephora, with all the big names that are, selling products similar to you. So tell me, or tell us, like, how are you going to be able to do that? Like, what's the plan? What's the strategy? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, one thing that has, I will say, surprised me about starting this company is that half of our customers are men, day in and day out. Half of our customers are men. And I did not expect that. I thought that men would be maybe 20% of our customer base when we started. But it turns out that, first of all, we sell everything that men need for grooming. So they can get their bath and body and their shaving and their cologne and even toothpaste and all of that in one place. But what we've learned is that a lot of those bigger stores, the Sephoras and the Ultas, they're not really for men. And men are not super comfortable walking into those stores. And if you've ever done that, with a husband or somebody, they don't know where to go. It's not a comfortable environment for them. It doesn't look like it's for them. It's not obvious where they're supposed to go or that there are even products there for them. So what we discovered, and it's a happy surprise, that when we put together a men's store on our site that says, come here, and we don't have an overwhelming selection, but we've got a great selection of heritage Italian quality products at a good price point where you can get everything that you need. And here's just a few reasonable choices down the road. It's not hundreds and hundreds of choices like in the big stores. It really resonates with them. So I think in one way we compete because we have a full store for men and they like Italian products. They like Italy. They probably like Italian cars and wine and food and style. And so they're drawn to Italian men's grooming and to have everything in one place. So that's grown for us as a great differentiator. I think another differentiator that we have is in some of those other stores, it's such an overwhelming number of brands and products. And it's really all based on what's trendy, what's new and now and next, what the influencers are saying, new celebrity lines, what are the fads happening out there on social media. And women over a certain age, I don't know what that age is, I'm over 40. I'm really not feeling influenced by all of that and what's happening out there on social media. So I think that our products, because they are heritage quality Italian brands with great stories, great families behind them, great performance, it gives you a different experience with the product than what you're going to get from a new celebrity brand off the shelf. So we're not setting out to compete necessarily with that selection and that priority that those stores have. We're really looking for customers who want to connect into story and want to have a different type of experience with their beauty, want something that's really authentic, maybe takes them back to a place that they visited or want to visit in Italy, and just have a very different experience than what you're going to get off the shelf. So I'll just note, those are two things that I think differentiate us from our competition. And like I said, we're the only ones with this niche of just all the Italian brands under one roof. So that definitely resonates with people. People will call us and write us and say, oh, I found this brand when I was in Sicily and I've never been able to find it again. And I'm so happy that you have it so I can start buying it again. So we definitely have people who are, Italiophiles, people who just love Italy and love these brands and are happy to see them. And then we also we carry a lot of fragrances, and we get fragrances, that are hard to find in the US. And so we definitely get a lot of people, men and women, who are connoisseurs of fragrance, who really want to discover these brands and see what they're all about. So I think those are just some of the things that differentiate us. And we're still trying to, we don't have it all dialed in. We're not a year old yet. So every day we're trying to figure out what our advantages are and how we can compete, as it's a big, extremely competitive marketplace.
Yeah, that's amazing. What I'm getting from like everything that you've said is so helpful. And anybody that's considering, starting an e-commerce store is in, the midst of owning it. Like there's definitely things that we can take away and learn from that. And I think the thing that I appreciate so much about your approach, and I've heard it like in everything that we've talked about, is it's really holistic. Like you're looking at the full picture. So you've got, a lot of things going in terms of, health and beauty is skyrocketing on e-commerce. Men are, still buying the most online, which is awesome. And then also, the men are like the beard club, like all of these things, like men used to not care about this stuff. They're like, I'll pick a shaver up off the ground and shave my face with it. Right. Is what it used to be like. And now, it's like they have the oils and like all the things, like they almost have more products than women traditionally. And so I appreciate that you've capitalized on all of that. And also, I think there's something that came to mind when you were talking about it. And, Target, obviously you're not competing with brick and mortar Targets or, big box, the actual like on the ground stores, but like Target, by me, they blew out knowing that, this men's care is growing, is such a growing line, right? Or industry. They built out, I think it's like it's a double bay basically of men's products. And it's, it's displayed beautifully. They've got tables, and then they've also got, kind of the traditional Target shelves or racking. And you walk in and it almost feels like you're in one, like a small store within this giant beast. Right. And what's interesting about that is I thought, oh, that's so cool. That's so smart of them. It is still. And also men don't shop in Target. So they're reaching, they're reaching out to an audience that isn't there. I mean, if they built that out on their website, that would be amazing because but they have, created this really physical space for a space that men aren't physically in. And so that it made me appreciate so much the way that you're thinking about things so holistically. And who knows, I don't know Target's numbers. Maybe that section is awesome and, and working really, really well. But, it's not the first thing that I would think of, knowing the demographic, but you know your demographic so well.
It's fascinating, right? I think that same thing. Honestly, every time that I go into the Target, they have a little bit different flooring, everything to kind of make it speak to men that this is a place for you. And I think that's really what we try to say too. We publish blogs, we focus on men. We say this is a place for you. And Italy as a country, just over centuries, has perfected that kind of guy's barbershop culture. That grooming and male grooming is part of an everyday routine. It's not like extreme pampering. It's where you go to hang out with other guys and you appreciate the quality and the experience, and Italian men look good. And so I think all of that resonates with American men. They know that they can trust the quality in the products because it is like this rich Italian culture and the barbershop culture and the gentleman culture. And so it's a easy access kind of way to come in and buy products that are a little elevated from what you're going to get at the grocery store. And it doesn't break the bank. They're still really affordable. So we really intend to continue to expand our brands and our offerings in the male space. We're looking at bringing out another brand before Christmas that is exclusively men's products, because we're really finding that men like having a place to go and they like good products.
Yeah, they're reliable in that way. That's awesome. Okay, I'm dying to hear about your favorite product, or what maybe is the most popular product.
Oh my gosh. So it's hard because we have so many products, but I will say that, and I have one here, one of the first products that I really fell in love with is by Perlier. Perlier has been around since 1940, and they have had some products in the US, so some people are familiar with Perlier. But one of their products they produce is this one called Imperial Honey. And I mean, I honestly think it's the best smelling thing like in the entire collection. And this is just a bath cream, and there's a body cream too, that everybody here, we love it so much. We always just have it in the office and we smell it like we're like addicted to it. It's honey, but it's made from these Italian black bees, and it's organic, and it's the best smelling stuff in the world. And I buy it for everybody because it's universal. Everybody loves it. So
That's
I would say the
awesome.
Perlier line, Imperial Honey, and just kind of everything from Perlier smells like amazing. Can I tell you about one more?
Yeah, totally.
So there's this other brand that's really unheard of in the US called Acqua di Bulgari. This is one of
Okay.
their fragrances. And they're just this small brand that's made in Tuscany. They're a little bit newer, just since like the early 80s. But their fragrances are incredible and they're super affordable. And their fragrance called Oro, which translates to gold, I think is our number one best-selling fragrance in the
Oh, wow.
store. And they come in like little small vials or this size or bigger ones. And they're just a winner on the fragrance side. I mean, they're just incredible little fragrance house out of Tuscany. And I just recommend it to everybody and people are discovering it. It really sells really well. And then we have a lot of men's products too. This is like the Purasso. This is the classic men's shaving brand that is found all over Italy. And we just keep restocking it for men on the site. So like I said, we have 20 different brands. They're all different and they all really speak to the place in Italy where they're from. They draw from the ingredients there, the families there. So they're all different styles, different scents. They're just really fun to discover.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing those with us. And I've got the link up on, or the web address up on the page to, for anybody that wants to go and check it out. Is there anything else we should know about you, about your business before we sign off?
I'll just say one thing because it's super exciting because we just announced it like a couple of weeks ago that we've just announced our very first subscription boxes.
Yay.
So we've not done this before. We just launched 4 subscription boxes. They're seasonal. So for one price, you get 4 deliveries during the year of seasonal products. There's 2 subscriptions for women, a subscription for men, and one that's home. So it's home scents, home candles, home diffusers. So we're pretty excited about those. And we think they're going to be hopefully a great gift for anybody for the holidays, a way to just discover all the different brands throughout the year. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Subscription boxes are where it's at.
We'll see.
That's great. Yeah, totally. Cool. Well, Amy, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your story, for sharing, all that you do. I'm really grateful for it. And it's amazing. Nice work.
Thank you so much. This has been really fun. Thanks for indulging me and asking about my favorite products and all that. I really appreciate it. So
totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for being here, for listening and for watching.
Awesome. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Rate and review this podcast and share it with all of your friends. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you're leaving with some great things that can help you move from hustle to flow, because I believe in you and your business. Until next time.